debates, constant elevation.
3, 2, 1. What is up, everybody? You are listening, you are watching to the Constant Elevation podcast. I am your host, Gabe Rock, back with another one. Definitely enjoying some the downside of May. Just recently completed a week of leave, and it's been really good. The wife successfully did her the Maryland portion of the Appalachian Trail, and so I was a good trail angel and dropped her off at the Mason-Dixon line in Pennsylvania, and then also picked her up at Harper's Ferry. I almost forgot. I was like Harper's Creek, Harper's Ferry. And so it was pretty good. She did like 40 something miles solo. She did it in 2 days and a morning. And so she did really good. And then the daughter also came back from Alaska from her boyfriend's graduation successfully. And so it's been pretty cool. And then kind of weird, as soon as they came back, so my wife was cleaning up all of our hiking stuff, whatever it is. So the hiking tub is in the same storage area where the rest of our tubs are, as far as like Christmas decoration, luggage, all that kind of stuff. And then, like, long story short, we're slanging. We're already in PCS purge mode, but now we're selling stuff mode. Be like, do we need all this furniture? No. Do we need that piano? No. I don't have to play the guitar in a while. Sell it. And so if you're on Facebook Marketplace, or if you're a fan with me on Facebook, I apologize that I'm just spamming the entire marketplace with all the things I'm trying to sell, because it's going to be sold or going to be given away. And so, but yeah, it always feels good to do that purge as we get ready for the PCS down in Langley. And so it's been really, really good. But this week, what I want to talk about is returning from leave. And so I'm very particular, when I go on leave, I put a link in the the description notes. I did publish a previous episode about how to take leave and how to make sure when you take leave that you're taking leave and not bringing the work with you. And so there's a different kind of thing I was thinking about and it prompted me because one of my other teammates, he came back from leave. I can hear him at our staff meetings. This is like 2 days after we've already been back in the office. I'm still buried in all these emails. I'm still trying if you need to get a hold of me, just come by my office and let's chat. And I was like, all right, cool. And meanwhile, I'm here on Monday morning. Like, I'm already back in the cut by like no later than 9:30, 10 o'clock, like all the way ready, full up round. And so I figured that this week I'm going to share some of the tips and approaches that I use to just do better when returning from leave. So not obviously, some of the things I think about is before I go on leave is prepping the battlefield, right? So it's making sure that I'm actually setting some conditions for success before I go on leave. So 2 things I think about before I go on leave. One is to make sure if there are some specific tasks that I'm looking for the team to do when I am gone, I'm being very clear on the things I want to do. Usually it's going to be in one email that just says, here's the things, the big rocks that I'm thinking about that I want you to do to make sure, just final guidance. Hey, you have to cover down on this and it's going to be an opportunity for someone, a branch chief to fleet up and do a division chief kind of job, or just, hey, so I trust you. You're going to be briefing the 3-star and I'm fine. We already went over the deck. You're good. Just go forward and don't screw it up. I may or may not say that. But the idea is just giving clear guidance to the team so they understand what they're supposed to be doing. So that gives me a sense of, before I go on leave, I feel confident that like I'm giving enough guidance, not micromanaging, but I'm giving enough guidance to be like, here's some things you need to think about. Here's some things that you're just going to have to make your own decision. And I trust you. I will come back and I'll just fall in to whatever decision happens, and then we'll go from there. And depending on the subject matters, I know the subject. I know which ones I need to give a little bit more guidance, a little bit and the ones I just have to say a couple things and then I kind of move forward from there. The other piece is making sure that the normal kind of process that we do stay normal. So in other words, if we are producing weekly activity reports or WARs, keep on doing that. If we are going to have a staff meeting, what I actually say is, it's up to you guys if you want a staff meeting. What's most important to me is the staff meeting slides. We use a OneNote for, we don't do PowerPoint. We use OneNote and just text. And so like the idea of make sure that's there because I want to come back and read it. And I stay on top of those things and make sure that the certain subjects that are in there, leave, TMT tasks, those kind of stuff. Like I have operational information and administrative information in 2 separate areas. That way I can kind of quickly parse from it. So make sure those things are in place. And then before you go on leave, that way, when you go on leave, you're going to have to prepare yourself to read those products when you come back. Go on leave, bam, fast forward. Okay. You're coming back, first day back in the office. Here's what I think you should be doing. you need to basically lock yourself in your office. You got to tell everybody, or maybe put a piece of paper on the outside of your door and be like, please do not bother me until 8:30 or 9 o'clock, whatever it is. And the reason why is because you're going to have to you're giving yourself some homework and setting some time parameters to make sure you could actually become and get through information very, very quickly. And the information freaking dumpster fire you have to go through is your email. It's a necessary evil. As a cyber guy, I really don't like email, but I understand how to use it, and so I use it, but also don't become a slave to it, if that makes sense. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to set a clock, or you're going to a timer or whatever it is. You're only going to give yourself 1 hour to get through your email. 1 hour. That is it. You have to figure it out. And if you don't do that, you're going to delete everything. You have to give yourself, if I don't do everything in 1 hour, I'm going to have to do 100 burpees for time or something like that. Give yourself some like really good incentive to make sure that you're going to only stick to 1 hour, because this is important. You have to be able to parse through that information. And remember, you don't have to read everything. You don't. Like, spoiler, it's only allowed of email if you read it all. So like you have to develop some techniques on how you can quickly parse through that huge inbox, right? So all the emails are coming in. Obviously, here's the first thing you're gonna do. You're gonna look for, you can search it by name. So you should be looking from your boss and your boss's boss. Read those emails first, because they're actually communicating out some of the words, and those are going to probably indicate whether or not you need to actually pay attention to that conversation thread or not. It could be a thing of, your boss says, "Hey, thanks, good to go." What that means is somehow whatever that conversation was, is you get to delete it. You can file it away and make sure you don't have to read it. And especially for just understanding what are some of the big rocks they're looking at. Same thing. If it looks like your chain of command has already stated that they are good to go, you don't have to read the rest of it. You can assume and trust that your team has already done whatever was needed to be done when you were gone. Therefore, you don't have to. At some point in time, you're going to understand and get caught up to what they were talking about. If there was something, it was like, hey, so I want to make sure I talked about this with Colonel Villa when he gets back from leave. Okay, all of a sudden that became something, you potentially have to go reread that conversation thread. But you're making some quick distinctions as far as, do I need to spend time here or not? Those are really good. So always hit your boss and your boss's boss conversation or replies in email first. Then what I recommend is going through, organize it in Outlook, and you can look at all the calendar invites. You can quickly go through those. You open a calendar invite. If it's talking about a meeting that was happening when you were on leave, in other words, it's in the past, delete all those. Delete. Oh, you don't have to worry about that. It already happened, so nobody cares. If there's something it adjusts a meeting for your future calendar, you can take those, obviously, but you need to be quickly just kind of accept, decline, delete, making sure that you're just kind of parsing this through. Another kind of easy, quick thing is understanding what are the system generated emails. So like Leave Web, that's a really good one, right? And so you get Leave Web requests and Leave Web. You need to either approve a leave or approve a return from leave. Okay, organize those from subject so they're all in one thing, and delete them all. Not kidding, delete them all. Go into your internet browser, open up a Leave Web tab, and then just leave that open. Everything is in there. Everything in the email is just it's annoying automated daily responses, right? So you just parse through all those and delete them all, because the only thing that matters is if you approve all the actions in Leave Web. So you're just kind of compartmentalizing all that action over here. Very, very quick way that you can actually, again, reduce the amount of stuff in your inbox, so you can kind of get to the point that makes sense. Then you're going to start seeing, I tend to go organizing by subject line. And so depending on if some of those subjects that you're covering are some of the things that you knew were some of your big rocks before you left, you probably want to read those first, or read those next, I should say. And then you kind of keep on going down the line, and eventually you'd be surprised how quickly your email can actually be organized. There's a lot of emails that you don't even have to open, especially for information kind of stuff. You get added to a bunch of distro lists. You should be able to understand when you're looking at things, whether or not things are for info or for action. If they're for info, file it away. Okay, that also is an important point. You have a filing system, right? Make sure you have some method to actually organize your things. When I see people who have 200 million things in their inbox, it gives me heart murmurs. Like, I don't understand what you're doing with your life. That's equivalent to having your entire desktop filled with icons of, why do you have so many things there? It's not annoying, but it's overwhelming. Like, what are you doing here? You can't get anything because it's how can you organize anything? Make sure you file away some stuff. My inbox is really, I only allow myself one window. That's it. And if it's active, it's in the inbox. If it's not, it's filed away. So making sure you have to do all this in 1 hour. Not kidding. Make sure you do it in 1 hour and stick to that time frame. Assuming you're done with that, your next job is to go and visit your boss in person. Okay. And then when you go visit your boss in person, go in there, knock on the door. Hey, sir, ma'am, good morning, whatever it is. And just be like, hey, how's it going? What you're trying to do is you're trying to read the room. You're going to try to read the room because you want to understand what is their current energy flow right now. Are they relaxed, they stressed, whatever it is. Just let them kind of just explain what's going on, and then just read the room and let how their response is going to inform that. After you ask that, then you can hopefully they ask you about how was your leave. You get to explain. You don't need to go into detail what's going on, but like hopefully it's a two-way conversation that actually give a shit about you, and you kind of talk about the human side of it. Then it should be, all right, sir, ma'am, hey, so what are the big rocks? What you need from me? And then use that as the next barometer of what you need to focus on. They're going to tell you whether or not, nothing big is going on. There's nothing. Okay, cool. Or, hey, I need you to follow up on this subject line. Okay, write down the note, and then you're going back to your office, and then you know exactly what you're going to have to do. You don't have to sift through your email and wonder what's going on. You asked your leadership what exactly they needed, and they'll tell you. Very, very easy kind of thing to do. You go back to your office. Then you're going to start reading. Remember I mentioned talking about like your making sure your recurring processes are there. And so you want to read your wars for all the operational updates. And then so take notes, just read the last couple things and take notes exactly what you need to pay attention to. Then read the staff meeting things to figure out all the administrative items you need to be paying attention to. Then you now have a shortened list of action items, at least stuff you need to figure out. And then from there, now you can start actually falling in and opening your door, having the conversation. It's only like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours has gone by. You're good. At that point in time, you fall back into the regular battle rhythm because anything that was important has already you've already known, your boss already told you, or you already identified it in your email. If there's anything new, the battle rhythm will tell you. You don't have to go out and search for it. Someone's going to tell you that this is kind of a big deal, or something that's important. So to me, that's a really, really quick way to just get ready. Coming back from leave, you don't want to feel overwhelmed. You want to just get back to work and then start taking action. So, yeah, those are my quick kind of tips as far as how when you come back from leave, you don't let your inbox become a chain. You fall in really, really quickly back in line with your team, and you start doing work. I felt I got a lot of stuff done so far in this week, and so I'm looking forward to, even though next week's a shorter week from Memorial Day weekend, we got a lot of stuff to do in Doden, and I have a lot of stuff I got to get done before my transition out in July. So hopefully this advice is informative to you. If you have, you can leave some comments down below in the YouTube channel. If you haven't already, please subscribe and like and all that jazz for the social medias. And yeah, it's going to be a good end of May, and I'm looking forward to what's coming. I already have probably some new subjects for next week. I heard a podcast earlier. It's going to be another combination of fitness and leadership. I just kind of ebb and flow with what I like seeing, and I heard something that kind of inspired me, so I'm looking forward to recording that content. So you guys stay safe this week, and we'll talk to you next week. Peace.